Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast between Pope and myself. This is going to be our series 2, season 2, whatever you want to call it. How are you doing over there, Pope?
Doing all right. It's good to be back. It's been quite a big break, but school got pretty stressful over the last few months, and I was finally able to get a nice little break in and recompose myself, so I'm ready to push forward with future podcast.
All right, well, I keep hitting things. Good lord, I'm going to hurt myself in here. All right, so our first topic of the new season was special. I don't even know what we're going to call this yet. We'll figure it out. But school. As he said, we got caught up. We got busy. The main reason for that was it was the end of the year for us, and it was like a stressful, a stressful season nonetheless because it was the last class before our break. Well, his break. I graduated, so woo,
Woo
masters in
woo.
public relations. So pretty proud of that. So tell us more about I guess since you're back in school, you got your break. How was your break, first of all?
Um, if if it's even possible with my break, I actually almost got to the point of missing school, missing class. Um, Ever since I started school last January, I've pretty much like every day feels like it. Not saying that my life didn't have a purpose because, like I said, I'm happily married. Everything has, every day has a purpose, but it is at the same time completely reasonable to be happy and feel worthless at the same time. And
College at
so
its
prior to
finest.
starting, so prior to starting school, I felt like I was living a quite a lackluster life. Like I was feeling like I was semi-capped in my career. Well, not semi-capped. I am quite capped out in my career right now, so that's probably why I'm going to school. But like I was saying, my break, which was about 3.5 weeks long, it made me almost fall back into that pattern where I had so much free time. Even though it was the holidays and I did spend time with family, I missed that feeling of waking up with a drive, like knowing that I need to get a project done and I'm working on a project. And because it's such a tech-based school. I mean, everything, especially at the level I'm at now, pretty much every project I'm doing in school, like I'm physically building a project. Well, physically, digitally building a project. So again, and I miss that, and I'm glad to be back in it. So
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that you found what motivates you, and obviously that should keep you driving until you finish. So we're all rooting for you. Don't worry about that. We
I
got you from the
appreciate ya.
sidelines. I'm pretty sure anyone listening and everyone that cares too will definitely, if you ever need any support, we're always here for you.
Most definitely.
Because
I always appreciate it.
that finish line, even though it was so close for me, I think in the last class that I had, I I think I said I wanted to drop out about 3 times a day.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. I mean, it was a struggle, especially for you. I mean, because your what was it? Your whole thesis paper, like 50, 60 something pages. Like,
It came out to 55 because we had restrictions, so I had to cut things, I had to rewrite things, and it just it was there were I think I stayed up for about 72 hours straight in the last week just making sure I got it done. And I thought I slept in those days, but I just remember staring at my computer screen for like 3 hours without moving. So I think that was what I considered sleep. That's grad school at its finest, I believe.
yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I wouldn't know, but I definitely, ever since we started, because we started school together pretty much the same day, just in different programs, and I feel like you pushed me and I pushed you, so I pretty much know I know what you're feeling.
It's just that you gotta get that motivation to climb over that wall, finish that jump, stuff
Yeah,
like
very
that.
true.
All right. Well, as we're talking about finishing and grinding, we'll go to our next topic, which is our gaming section. Obviously, somehow drives the most traction. So we need to discuss a few things first. First and foremost, we have Switches.
Very true. We do both have Nintendo Switches now.
So if anyone wants to add us, add your battle tags or whatever I don't know what they're called, Nintendo IDs. I really don't know. But if you want to play with us or whatnot, just make sure you add or put your names in the comment sections, and we'll make sure we add you. That way we can play with you. I feel like that's just a good way to interact and have more fun than normal. Plus,
Yeah,
we get
interact with the community some.
yeah, and like we can have like game nights and stuff with people too. I feel like that's another way where we can all just sit around and have some fun. Hopefully, I think we're gonna also try and get Jackbox. I'm gonna probably buy another version of it, and then I'm gonna stream it, and hopefully people are able to join. Because all you need is a code. You don't even really have to, have like be on the same Wi-Fi or anything, or even the same console, any of that, or PC, I guess. So it's definitely a thing that we can do with the community, and I feel like we could definitely do that together and bring some people and just have some fun.
Most definitely.
Now, as for what we've been playing lately, I feel like we used to talk a lot about Overwatch and we talked a lot about Empyrean and we touched a little bit on this little addictive game known as Escape from Tarkov. You want to explain a little bit of what it is, and I'll try and polish it up if we need to.
Yeah, it's pretty much like when I stream it, a lot of my like the people who follow me, they ask, first and foremost, like, what is this game? What is it? Is it like Fortnite? Is it a battle royale? Is it a survival game? Um, it's really weird because it's a first person shooter that has like a pretty good mesh of quite a few different concepts. So pretty much how you start the game off is you start off in a loading screen and you have your character and you can pull gear from your stash. So you have a stash that's full of, guns, vests, armor vests, backpacks, so on and so forth. And you have to put stuff onto your character and then you have to load into a map. And then when you're in the map, and it's called a raid. So when you load into a raid, you have both PvP, which is player versus player, and PvE, so player versus instance, and how you interact with everything. So like, and it has both factors. So you have other humans like yourself trying to, and pretty much the whole thing of it is running in, getting kills, and looting, and getting loot and getting out. Um, it might sound simple, but it's one of those concepts of you can go in with a pistol, which might cost you, and they roll out of rubles because the game's out of Russia, so they roll out of rubles. So you might roll in with something that costs you 15,000 rubles to make, like your setup, and then you can go in and you can start off what are called scavs, which is short for scavengers, which is like the civilians of Russia, I guess, is how you want to put it. And they have like shotguns and different stuff, so you can kill them, get all their stuff, and then work your way up and maybe get lucky and pick off a human player who's actually geared up. We call them fatties. You can kill yourself a fatty and loot all his stuff up, and then yeah. So I mean, and it's just different. It's a very grindy game. Like you got to grind and you got to get the keys and you got to grind and get gear. You got to grind and get guns. You got to grind and do missions so you can level up vendors because the vendors sell you different things and those things make for a better experience. So the game definitely has a lot of risk and reward and missions and rewards. I mean, it's one of those games that if you have an extra $40 and you want to check it out, or you just want to check it out before you even buy it, just go to Twitch and type in Escape from Tarkov, and you'll find somebody playing it and just watch them play.
Yeah, and there's a like, it's not a huge game, but they have a really good community. So it just depends on where you go, because there are people that are going to be toxic. That's just gaming in general, but for the most part, even when there is toxicity, usually it's just for fun. Like a lot of people just joke around. So that's just like half the community is us messing around, but the game is definitely just survival. Like you get in with stuff, whatever you come out with, you can keep, but if you die, you lose everything. So it's a really fun game. We've been playing it. We've had the game for almost a year now, actually. I think
Just about a year now.
I think today would actually mark a year, believe it or not, for the January 20th for us. Whenever this video goes live, it may be a little bit past a year, but 1 year regardless. And
Very true. Yeah, and it's a good game. I mean, um I don't know how to it's like being in a toxic relationship. It's where like it
how
has its
so?
it has its things of where it wants to treat you like shit, but you just keep going back to it. So, I mean,
Oh,
excuse my
wow.
language in the reference on it.
Wow.
but
You
the
went
game
there.
the game will semi chew you up and spit you back out, and then at the same time you're looking and waiting to when you can load in the next time and go back in. That's just how it gets you. It's like, oh man, I know what I did wrong that time. Now I'm going to change it, and it's almost like insanity.
Oh God.
Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome. So
It's almost like gambling. Almost like like a lot of those people. Like there are people that are die hard. Like get to the max level, get as much as you can, and it's just like crazy. Because it's like one, I don't even know if I ever have that enough time to do something like that. Because this game is so grindy. But it's
it
it's
is.
it's well worth it in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun, especially with the newer map that they put in.
Oh, I can't even explain to you the AI or PVE. They play like humans, but with aimbots. So
Yeah.
it just makes that so much harder. It does make you a better player, though. I feel. All right, for our last topic, I want to discuss since Pope is becoming a coder, becoming a web developer. He's also learning a program called Unity, which is a gaming program where you can code games, and I'm trying to learn as well. What kind of games? For one, I want to know what other games people want to play, like mobile, console, PC, for one, and then what genre of games, and then also Pope, what kind of games do you see yourself making? And I'll go through mine too. But I want to know like the difference. Like what do you want to make? I guess if once
All
you
right.
learn
I
Unity.
mean, once I learned Unity, a game that we touched on a while back in the beginning of our podcast times. Um, the game is called Empyrean,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and that whole game was developed in Unity. The whole game, everything about it. And I feel if you've made it to this point in the podcast and you want to just see the vastness of what that it just Google it. Just Google Empyrean. Just don't ask me how to spell it right now because I'll lie to you and tell you the wrong thing. There's a Y where you think there should be an I, but it's in there. And just Google Empyrean and maybe watch like a YouTube clip of somebody playing. Just you look at how the space works. Like when you're in space and you're traveling through it and you're going to different space stations, different planets. Like when you're making entry into a planet and just everything like that. It's just and then just the concept of it takes the concept of open world. It's going to sound super cheesy when I say it. It's going to take the concept of open world and makes it essentially like an open universe because, or an open, galaxy because you have, like, I have my own server and I still have my server to date. I will never get rid of it. But in my server, so in my solar system, which is my server alone, we've gone to every single planet. And I think we have, what was it, 11 or 12? We have 12 planets, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
12 planets and about 22 different space stations that you can visit. So that's what I aspire. Like, if you want to ask, like, what I would like to make, I just think being able to put my name on a project like that, or even just be a part of a project like that, like, that's hashtag goals for me.
And real quick before we skip over it, how to spell it is Empyrion. I'm just looking at it right now, so
There you go.
I
See,
was just doing it
it's
for you.
yeah, it's a weird spelling, but I mean, just check it out. Check out a video play of it one night. If someone thinks that you think would be pretty neat, and you do follow me on Twitch, just you can DM me on Facebook or wherever, or just on the site on Facebook itself. Be like, hey man, can you stream it one night, and I will gladly stream it one night. And I can stream it with Ryan here. We both play it, so we both have it. I have about 200 hours logged into it, so I definitely have my server built up quite nicely. So if you wanted to see like a full experience of what the game is, just drop the word, and I will definitely stream it one night.
And I think what we can try and do, since it looks like a lot of our viewer base for this podcast has currently been on Facebook, we can actually, if anyone wants, we could stream on Facebook as well. So if you guys want to see some of these games, or if y'all want to interact more, we can throw it up on Facebook, and we can play on there and interact on there as well. It's sort of like Twitch, but just Facebook's version. or
I guess that's true, yeah, because you can just link your account and stream straight off of
OBS.
OBS, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and or if you guys want, we could stream on Twitch, and we can just throw up when we're going live on the podcast page too. Like this. I want to see what everyone else thinks. I feel like that's the best way is to just get a consensus. Whether you're listening to us on one of the podcast apps or if you're on YouTube or Facebook, just let us know. Even if you want to tweet us at on Twitter or even DM us on Instagram or Facebook, just go ahead and do that and shoot. We'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. Well, and before we close out the subject too much, I mean, where do you, or not where, but
Oh,
what,
that's right, me.
yeah, yeah, what do you see yourself wanting to, create game
So,
wise?
God, I as much as I love the VR version of Oasis right now, I I literally want to recreate, like fully recreate the Oasis from Ready Player One. Like I like it's a good concept that they have, but I want like the full immersed version of Oasis, like VR. Like, and I want to do it like it was in the book in the movie, how like any system was able to connect to it and play it. And I feel like that's going to be eventually my biggest goal is to recreate the Oasis in such a way where is as big as it was in all these other sci-fi places, and it doesn't sound achievable right now, but with a lot of work and people being able to afford the equipment to play it, I feel like I'll probably do the same thing to where the game's basically free. If like there's just pay to do this, or like in-game transactions to sort of help move the game along versus just making people pay this 60, 80, $100 upfront fee, which I feel like is sort of ridiculous. I'd rather have people playing the game, and if they want to pay for it, they can, and if not, then you know what, you do you play the game, you enjoy it. I feel like
Yeah.
that's just what, like, that's my overall goal, is to create something like the Oasis. Obviously, I've got to start small, so I honestly want to make an 8-bit game. I want to start there and just build from there and see what I can get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once you get Unity downloaded, if you use I think it has a 2 week or maybe a month free trial. Um, they start you off with a very basic level like game like that, and like it kind of shows you how like you can go through and make blocks and stuff like that. And like the first thing you like they have like a little example game, and you pretty much just walk across a bridge and pick up a key and walk back and unlock a door and pick up, and
Okay.
it allows you to pick up. So it kind of shows you, and then how you can do it is you can do like a nice little side by side view of it all. So like you can see the game being played, and then you can watch the code run.
Okay. Okay. I get you.
And that's just, yeah, and that's just the biggest thing for programming is if you can read your code and you can watch your code and you know where your code's going and what it's doing, then you're golden. So
All right. Well, hopefully I'll be able to do that
I'm
and
sure.
like
And
really
there's
quickly.
yeah, there's plenty of tutorials out there. Unity has a lot of how, like, I mean, they have hundreds of hours of tutorials, and I mean, every single one of them is worth it. If you can invest maybe 5 hours a day for say 2 weeks into some videos, I think, I mean, you'd probably be, ahead of where I am on as far as, developing
Unity.
in C sharp. So, and yeah, and then developing in Unity. So,
All right, like we used to do on our old, podcasts. If you have any questions or anything you want us to talk about in our next upcoming episode, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. Add us at all of our social medias. That'll be in the descriptions if you want to find that. But guys, we appreciate you listening, and we look forward to seeing you in the next podcast.
yep. We'll see y'all next time. It's glad, it's not glad, but it is good to be back. And I am glad to be back. All right, thanks guys.
Later.